And in the Impact segment tonight, two controversial situations involving Donald Trump and Ben Carson. First, Mr. Trump.
How about we do this with CNN? I won't do the debate unless they pay me $5 million, all of which money goes to the wounded warriors or go to vets. Seriously. I would love to do it.
Joining us now from Los Angeles, Leslie Marshall. Here in New York City, Andrea Tantaros, co-host of Outnumbered. So you think Trump's going to stand by that statement?
No.
No?
No, he's done this twice before.
Twice?
This is the third time, and he's shown up at the debate. But it's a great PR tactic because who would disagree with that, right?
Well, I'm going to have him on the program tomorrow, and then I'm going to say, are you going to show up or not? He's going to have to tell me yes or no. I mean, he knows I'm going to ask him about that.
And he already walked it back, too. He said, well, I may show up because then they're going to say I'm chicken if I don't. So he's already backpedaling on it.
You really? Okay.
Yeah.
So you think he says things like this, Mr. Trump, for what reason?
Earned media, and it works. Who's going to argue with that? Our troops aren't getting taken care of, and he puts the pressure on CNN, one, to do something good to help the troops, and it shows that he supports the troops, and two, it highlights how much money he makes CNN because he's so great, so it helps the troops and Trump, his two favorite things.
And what do you say, Leslie?
I actually agree a lot with what Andrea said regarding Donald. This is not about Wounded Warriors, which is an excellent organization. This is about Donald Trump. Bill, you know, as well as everyone in the world, because he reminds us almost daily how much money Donald Trump has, that he could write a check for $5 million tomorrow to Wounded Warriors. This is about him, how much money he thinks he makes for CNN and all of the networks, what he thinks the ratings are. This is all about him, and so is this tactic. He's not going to go through with it. Like Andrea said, this will be the third time that's a charm. He's going to do the same thing. Of course he's going to show up.
Is there any downside for any political candidate, including Mr. Trump, to say things and then not follow through on them? Any downside?
I don't think for Trump it hurts him when we just look at the polls among his people.
He's impervious.
He's so far.
Right.
But I do think what it does is it hurts the process, Bill, because the people who are not set on a candidate, who are Republicans or want to weigh in on who that GOP nominee should be, should hear everyone's idea on the economy, on foreign policy, and that's what they're going to tune into CNN or any other network for, not just for the sound bites and for the jabs.
If Trump doesn't show up, then the debate doesn't get the rating that it might. Okay, Ben Carson having a little bit of problem the last few weeks. He weighs in on the accusations from the left that over-the-top rhetoric against Planned Parenthood led to the shootings in Colorado Springs. Roll of tape.
There are some pro-lifers who will say things like, I can understand why somebody might come into, an abortion clinic and shoot it up. That's kind of over the top.
Do you know any pro-life people who've said that? I mean, in a position of responsibility, of course you got kooks, but I don't ever remember any pro-life person that I've covered ever saying anything like that.
No, not one. I don't know where he's getting that from.
Do you know any, Leslie? Do you know any pro-life people, head of organizations, or anybody out there with a visible profile that's ever said it's justified to kill people who are pro-abortion? Have you ever heard anything like that?
I've never heard anybody who you're saying is credible. But, Bill, when we look at the person who pulls the trigger, who is responsible for that crime, I agree with you on that 100%. However, when we look at, like today, 1.8 million followers of the guy that started the Starbucks thing, who is saying we need to make doctors that perform abortions very afraid. These are some of the areas that these people that perhaps are not mentally stable are looking at.
Talking about violence. So I didn't know if Dr. Carson was in good territory there, unless he can name people. Because if he said it to me, I would have said, well, give me a couple of names, doctor. Because what you're doing is demonizing a pro-life movement that is generally peaceful and has been for decades.
Bill, I think this was really foolish of him. The pro-life movement is driven to persuade. Their rhetoric is based on reality, on cold hard truths.
But
and
there are kooks. There are people who go
that's
over
true. There's a kook here and there. There's a kooky pastor here. There's this guy who shot up the Planned Parenthood Center. But the pro-life movement has been peaceful. They lobby for legislation to educate. And you know what? They tweak the conscience of Americans, and it's working, as you know, because polls don't support late-term abortions. And they
I think Leslie would agree. The pro-life lobby has conducted itself in a very professional manner. Last word, Leslie.
I don't disagree with that. What we're looking at is those that demonize, we're looking at frequency, and we're looking at individuals that aren't necessarily believing facts, but sound bites,
All right,
and
but
some of those sound bites are demonizing.
really, you know, talk about nuts. And when Dr. Carson comes back, we'll ask him about it. Ladies, thanks very much.